uterine stimulants and uterine relaxants. As the name suggests, the uterine stimulants, they increase the force and intensity of uterine contraction, while the uterine relaxant, they cause relaxation of the myometrium. Now, the drugs that act on the uterus, either they act on the endometrium or the myometrium. On the endometrium, primarily the drugs that act are estrogen, progestins and their antagonists. The myometrium, they receive sympathetic and parasympathetic innervation, and hence the autonomic drugs, they basically modulate the motility of the uterus. Again, there are drugs that act directly on the myometrium. The responsiveness of the myometrium to the drug depend on the hormonal status present and hormonal and the gestational status. Uterine stimulants, they are also called oxytocics, because oxytocin is the primary drug that is used for inducing uterine contractions. So they are also called oxytocics or abortifacient. As they cause increased uterine contraction, they basically cause abortion in the early gestational period. So they are also called abortifacient. Now, what are the uterine stimulant available? Number one, posterior pituitary hormone, oxytocin, des-aminooxytocin. What are the hormones released from the posterior pituitary? It's oxytocin and ADH, antidiuretic hormone. So, posterior pituitary hormone, oxytocin, des-aminooxytocin, certain ergot alkaloids, they are used for obstetric purpose as uterine stimulant. They are ergometrin, also known as ergonovin, methyl ergometrin. Prostaglandins like prostaglandin F2 alpha, prostaglandin E2, 15-methyl prostaglandin F2 alpha and misoprostol. Misoprostol is commonly used. Miscellaneous ethacridine, quinine. Coming to the oxytocin, oxytocin is a hormone released from posterior pituitary. It is a peptide hormone, nona peptide, secreted by the posterior pituitary along with ADH. Now, these both oxytocin and ADH, they are synthesized in the hypothalamus, in the paraventricular and supraoptic nuclei in the nerve cell bodies. After synthesis, they are taken down by the axon and are stored in the nerve terminals in the posterior pituitary neurohypophysis by complexing with a specific binding protein called neurophysis. Now, this ADH and oxytocin, they are stored separately as granules in different neurons in the posterior pituitary hormone and are released in response to a stimulus. This stimulus, basically the stimulus causes the release of both oxytocin and the ADH, but the proportion of release depend on the nature of stimulus. Like oxytocin is released more in response to coitus, parturition, suckling of the infant, while ADH, hypertonic saline infusion, water deprivation and hemorrhage, and via the non-specific stimulus like pain and apprehension. Now, the action of action of the oxytocin, that is primarily on the uterus, also on the breast, in cardiovascular system and kidney. Coming to the uterus, as the name suggests, uterine stimulant, they increase the force and frequency of uterine contraction. Now, this estrogen in the body, they increase the oxytocin receptors and sensitize the uterus to the oxytocin, while progestin, they decrease the sensitivity of uterus to oxytocin. Also, this effect is less marked. Now, non-pregnant uterus and also during early pregnancy, uterus is lesser sensitive to the oxytocin, but in the later part of pregnancy, the sensitivity of the uterus to oxytocin increases and it sharply rises during labor and then sharply falls during the puerperial period. At term, the increased contractility of uterus to the oxytocin is restricted only to the fundus and body of uterus, while it is unaffected in the while the lower uterine segment is unaffected and rather relaxed, so that the lower uterus can be easily taken up during the labor. Now, how mechanism of action of oxytocin? Oxytocin, it directly act on the myometrium. It has got the oxytocin receptors. It's a G protein coupled receptor, and thus oxytocin, via acting on the oxytocin receptors, they cause depolarization of muscle fibers in the myometrium. And how does it cause? By the influx of the calcium ion and also by the release of intracellular calcium store via action via PIP2 IP3 pathway. The number of oxytocin receptors is markedly increased during later part of pregnancy. Didi, awaaz ekটু echo korche. The number of oxytocin receptors increases markedly during later part of pregnancy. Oxytocin also increases the release of prostaglandins, synthesis and release of prostaglandin from the endometrium. Now, coming to the action of oxytocin on the breast, oxytocin does not increase the production of milk, but rather it causes the contraction of the myoepithelium of the mammary alveoli, so that milk can be basically forced into the bigger milk sinusoids. This is called milk ejection reflex. When the infant sucks the breast, oxytocin is released from the pituitary and it causes basically contraction of the myoepithelial cells in the breast, causing forceful ejection of milk into the bigger milk sinusoid, and thus the baby can suck the milk. Oxytocin has been used in milk cattle to facilitate milking. Now, coming to the action on the cardiovascular system, at conventional dose used in obstetrics, oxytocin has got no effect on the cardiovascular system. But at higher doses, it causes vasodilatation leading to the fall in blood pressure, reflex tachycardia and flushing. The umbilical vessels are markedly constricted and thus possibly oxytocin plays a role in the closure of umbilical vessels at birth. Coming to the kidney, at therapeutic dose, oxytocin generally do not possess any ADS-like action, but at higher dose, it causes ADS-like action, causing basically pulmonary edema if large amount of intravenous fluid and oxytocin are infused together. Now, this oxytocin has got role physiologically in labor, in the milk ejection, reflex and neurotransmission. In the labor, basically oxytocin is released in larger quantity from the posterior pituitary in the later part of pregnancy, and in fact the uterus is highly sensitive to it at that time. Prostaglandins and platelet activating factors, they also have got some role in the labor. Coming to the milk ejection reflex, already discussed, suckling induces oxytocin release from pituitary, which contracts the myoepithelial cells. These cells in breast are more sensitive than myometrium of the uterus. Milk ejection reflex is absent in hypophyseectomized animal, the animal having no pituitary gland. Neurotransmission, oxytocin may play a role, function as a peptide neurotransmitter of oxytocinergic neurons in the hypothalamus and brainstem, and they regulate autonomic flow. Pharmacokinetics, as it is a peptide hormone, so it is inactive orally and it is given intramuscularly or intravenously, or it can be given as a nasal spray even. It is rapidly degraded in the liver and the kidney. Plasma half-life is short, around 6 to 12 minutes, and even shorter at the term. Pregnant uterus and placenta, they elaborate a specific aminopeptidase, oxytocinase, which can be detected in the maternal plasma. Coming to the usage of oxytocin, oxytocin is used in induction of labor, in uterine inertia, in breast engorgement, postpartum hemorrhage and cesarean section, and finally in the oxytocin challenge test. Coming to the induction of labor, basically oxytocin, labor needs to be induced. কখন লেবারটা ইনডিউস normally no intervention is required during normal labor, but in certain conditions labor has to be induced, like in case of post maturity or even prematurely in case of toxemia of pregnancy, diabetic mother, erythroblastosis, ruptured membrane and placental insufficiency. In those conditions, oxytocin is used by slow intravenous infusion. Now, before starting oxytocin infusions, certain criteria has to be met, otherwise it can't be given. Like the presentation of the baby should be correct. There is no placenta previa, fetal lungs are adequately matured, there is no cephalopelvic disproportion, no fetal distress, no uterine scar. If these conditions are met, only in those conditions oxytocin can be given. And uterine contractions are then closely monitored after the intravenous infusion is started, and when the uterine contraction is achieved at a estimated rate, then definitely the drug should be discontinued. Coming to uterine inertia, if the uterine contraction during the labor is feeble and the progression of the labor is unsatisfactory, in that case basically oxytocin can be used to facilitate the labor. So when uterine contractions are feeble, labor is not progressing satisfactorily, oxytocin can be infused intravenously to augment the contraction, but it should not be used to hasten a normally progressive labor. Before deciding to use oxytocin for those cases, the conditions discussed previously should be met. Too strong contraction can be catastrophic to the baby and the mother as well. Why oxytocin is preferred over methyl ergometrin or ergometrin? It's an important question during the exam. There are 4 reasons. Number 1, the plasma half-life of oxytocin is short. So, the uterine contractions can be controlled via intravenous infusion and the action can be terminated as required. Number 2, basically lower concentration causes contraction of the uterus with relaxation in between 2 contractions. That is seen with oxytocin, but moderate increase in dose of ergometrin causes increase in the basal tone of uterus. So, fetal hypoxia can occur. Fetal oxygenation does not suffer with oxytocin. Lower uterine is not contracted by oxytocin. In fact, can be relaxed. So, fetal descent is not compromised with oxytocin. And finally, uterine contractions are consistently augmented with increasing the dose of the drug. Now, this oxytocin can be used even in postpartum hemorrhage or in case of cesarean section. Here, oxytocin 5 international unit is injected intramuscularly or intravenously for immediate response, particularly in hypertensive subject where ergometrin or ergot alkaloids are contraindicated. It acts by forcefully contracting the myometrium so that the blood vessels are compressed in between its meshwork and bleeding is stopped from the inner surface of the uterus caused by separation of placenta. Coming to the breast engorgement, oxytocin, as discussed previously, they are helpful in inefficient milk ejection reflex and are used via an intranasal spray given few minutes before suckling. Adverse effect of oxytocin. Generally, inadvertent use of oxytocin can cause too strong uterine contraction that can lead to maternal or fetal soft tissue injury as it forces the presenting part through incompletely dilated birth canal, leading to maternal and fetal soft tissue injury. Uterine rupture can occur, fetal asphyxia and death. Water intoxication. If oxytocin is used in large doses with IV fluids, then due to ADH-like action, but water intoxication can occur, particularly in case of toxemia of pregnancy and renal insufficiency. Coming to the next drug, ergometrin and methyl ergometrin. Ergotamine is not used in obstetrics. We use ergometrin and methyl ergometrin because they are weaker vasoconstrictor and hence less toxic. Both have similar pharmacological property. Their action is on uterus, cardiovascular system, central nervous system and GIT. Coming to the uterus, they increase the force, duration and intensity of uterine contractions. Basically, they act as a partial agonistic. They have got partial agonistic action on the 5-HT2 receptor, on alpha adrenergic receptor, and they also act on dopaminergic receptor. Now, at low doses, contractions are phasic. There is relaxation between two contractions. But even with moderate increase in dose, the basal tone of uterus increases, and hence the fetal circulation can be compromised. Contraction occurs with the higher dose. Gravid uterus is more sensitive, especially at term and in early puerperium. Their stimulate action also involves the lower segment of uterus, unlike oxytocin. Coming to the cardiovascular system, at therapeutic dose, they have got they do not have any significant effect on the cardiovascular system. Ergometrin and methyl ergometrin are much weaker vasoconstrictor than ergotamine and have low propensity to cause endothelial damage. They can raise blood pressure like other ergot alkaloids, but that is insignificant at doses used in obstetrics. Central nervous system, at therapeutic dose, no significant effect on the central nervous system. At higher dose, depending on the partial agonistic, antagonistic action on the adrenergic, serotonergic and dopaminergic receptors, central nervous system effect can be seen. Gastrointestinal tract, at higher doses, peristalsis may be increased. Coming to the methyl ergometrin, it is 1.5 times more potent than ergometrin on uterus, but the action on the other system is less marked. So, methyl ergometrin is preferred over ergometrin in obstetrics. Coming to the pharmacokinetics, they can be orally absorbed rapidly and nearly completely absorbed orally. Action orally 15 minutes, intramuscular 5 minutes, intravenous almost immediate. Half-life 1 to 2 hours. Effect of a single dose lasts 3 to 4 hours. Adverse effect, they are lesser toxic than ergotamine as they are weaker vasoconstrictor. Hardly any complication arise with the therapeutic dose. Nausea, vomiting, rise in blood pressure can be seen, and with long-term use, the decrease in milk production can be seen due to inhibition of prolactin release. Ergotamine should be avoided because of their vasoconstrictor action in toxemia of pregnancy, hypertensive subject and patient with vascular disease. Presence of sepsis because gangrene may ensue. liver and kidney disease, they should be avoided. They are contraindicated in pregnancy and before third stage of labor. Uses: number 1 indication is postpartum hemorrhage. Number 2, after cesarean section or instrumental delivery to basically prevent uterine atony, to ensure normal uterine involution and diagnosis of variant angina. Coming to the prostaglandins, the third drug, PGE2, prostaglandin E2, prostaglandin F2 alpha, methyl 15-methyl prostaglandin F2 alpha. They are potent uterine stimulant, especially in the last part of pregnancy. And what does they are used for? They are used for ripening of cervix, preparation of the birth canal. Misoprostol is used as an peptic ulcer disease, but they can also be used in obstetric because of lesser side effects compared to other prostaglandins. Drug of choice in drug-induced peptic ulcer. In NSAID-induced peptic ulcer, drug of choice. It's not misoprostol. Proton pump inhibitors. Proton pump inhibitors are a drug of choice, but misoprostol can also be used. Coming to the next topic, uterine relaxant. Now, uterine relaxant, they cause basically decrease in uterine motility, and they are used to delay labor or postpone labor, to arrest threatened abortion, and they are also used in dysmenorrhea. What do we mean by dysmenorrhea? Dysmenorrhea माने कि dysmenorrhea, significant pain during menstruation. Now, prevention of premature labor in those at higher risk due to the past history has been attempted by administration of high dose of progesterone in the later of pregnancy with some success. Suppression of premature labor may be needed to allow the fetus to mature, for initiating the glucocorticoid therapy for fetal lung maturation. কোন স্টেরয়েডটা ইউজ করা হয় fetal lung maturation এর জন্য? What are the steroid that is used for fetal lung maturity? কোন corticosteroid ইউজ করা হয় for fetal lung maturity আর কেন? It's betamethasone and dexamethasone. These two drugs can be used as they can cross blood-brain barrier. As they can cross basically placental barrier. So, suppression of premature labor may be needed to allow the fetus to mature, to allow time for initiating glucocorticoid therapy for fetal lung maturation, or to transfer the mother in labor to a center with proper facilities. Till now, no satisfactory drug is available, as none of the drug has shown to improve fetal outcome. This postponing of labor can only be allowed if cervical dilatation is less than 4 cm and taking up of lower segment is minimal. Now, what are the uterine relaxants, or also called tocolytics? These are: number 1, beta-2 agonist, that include ritodrine, salbutamol, terbutaline, isoxsuprine. Salbutamol আর কথা ইউজ হয়? Use of salbutamol in other system, asthma patient, asthma COPD. So, ritodrine, salbutamol, terbutaline, isoxsuprine. Calcium channel blockers, particularly nifedipine. Oxytocin antagonist, atosiban. Magnesium sulfate. And miscellaneous drugs include ethyl alcohol, progesterone, general anesthetics, indomethacin and halothane. Coming to ritodrine, it is a selective beta-2 agonist. Its action is more prominent on the uterus, but problem with and it is approved to suppress premature labor and to delay delivery. Problem with the drug: cardiovascular and metabolic complications. What are the cardiovascular complications? It can cause tachycardia, hypotension, arrhythmia, pulmonary edema. Metabolic, it can cause hyperglycemia, hyperinsulinemia, hypokalemia. and along with that anxiety, restlessness, headache, they occur frequently. These are all related to beta 2 agonist action. Use of ritodrine to arrest labor has been found to increase maternal morbidity, and fetal pulmonary edema can develop when high volume is infused. The neonate can develop hypoglycemia and ileus. These are the drawbacks with the use of ritodrine. It should not be used if mother is diabetic, if the mother have any heart disease, if the mother is on beta blocker or the steroid therapy. Other adrenergic drugs, salbutamol, terbutaline can be used in place of ritodrine. Isoxaprine is particularly indicated for threatened abortion and is used orally or intramuscularly. Coming to the calcium channel blockers, particularly nifedipine, calcium channel blockers basically interferes with the calcium influx in the myometrium, and as a result causes basically decreases the tone of myometrium and oppose contraction. But it is helpful when started early enough to postpone the labor. Efficacy comparable to the beta 2 agonist and the toxicity are lesser. Tachycardia and hypotension are prominent at doses used to suppress uterine contraction. Reduced placental perfusion can cause fetal hypoxia, but in clinical trials it has been seen, or however, fewer babies delivered after nifedipine required intensive care. So, better than beta 2 agonist. Atosiban acts as an oxytocin receptor antagonist. In clinical trials, it has been found to suppress premature uterine contraction, postpone the labor or postpone preterm delivery with fewer cardiovascular metabolic complications than beta 2 agonist. Magnesium sulfate drug of choice কোথায় আছে? Magnesium sulfate to prevent or the treat seizure in toxemia of pregnancy is the first line therapy. Magnesium sulfate also acts as a tocolytic by competing with calcium ion for entry into the myometrium via ligand gated or voltage gated calcium channels. However, there is increased perinatal mortality with the use of drugs and is not recommended now. Halothane is a general anesthetic and efficacious uterine relaxant that is used during external and internal version.